Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigeria newspapers. And I begin with the Nigeria News Direct. The major story here says, Plateau killings. Tinubu talks tough, instructs security agencies to locate masterminds. And some riders, Inspector General of Police and National Security Advisor, pledge improved synergy to improve security. Nigerians will go about their businesses without fear under my watch, Army Chief speaking. You find all the details on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. To the leadership newspaper now. Northern Southeast governors move to tackle insecurity. Tinubu gives service chiefs marching orders on Plateau killings. Reps want state of emergency declared in Plateau, Sokoto. All the details on the front page of the leadership newspaper. The Nation newspaper is next. Adamu's incapacitation talk sparks row over Akeredolu. Adamu's incapacitation talk sparks row over Akeredolu. Ondo State PDP raises dust. Deputy Governor, I spoke with him on Sunday. All the details on the front page of the Nation newspaper. To the Guardian now. Akpabio 13 senators to earn over 5.6 billion naira ex-governor's pension benefits. Akpabio 13 senators to earn over 5.6 billion naira ex-governor's pension benefits. Details on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Mike.
All right, I have the Daily Sun here, and the Daily Sun says House of Reps stops CBN universities, says no to Apex Bank's social media KYC policy, University Unity Schools tuition fees hike. Okay, that's what the Sun newspaper has in there. From there, let's go to, let's move now to Daily Independent. Okay, Senate probes fuel subsidy, queries 9.3 trillion naira spent in 30 months. Okay, Senate probes fuel subsidy, queries 9.3 trillion naira spent in 30 months. That's Daily Independent. And now Blueprint newspaper is the next one we're looking at. Senate on fuel subsidy, 9.3 trillion naira spent in 30 months to probe under recovery. Okay, Senate on fuel subsidy, 9.3 trillion naira spent in 30 months to probe under recovery. Seeks 3 functional refineries and their living wage for workers. Reps want ban on sale of petrol in border communities lifted, and Fubara procures 17 free buses for Rivers residents. Okay, that's what the Blueprint newspaper has. Then let's go to This Nigeria. This Nigeria is saying 9.3 trillion naira spent on oil subsidy in 30 months. Scandalous, says the Senate. Orders probe into subsidy regime under Buhari and urges federal government IOCs to establish 3 refineries as Akpabio constitutes special committees. Okay, that's what This Nigeria has. Nature News is talking about flood and state governors ready for the worst. Seek federal government intervention. A senator makes case for Anambra Gully. All right, the southeast has been, washed with the erosion because of the soil texture there. That's what the Nature News has. Now, the Punch newspaper is the next we're looking at, and he's talking about naira devaluation. He says Nigerian students face tough times in the UK. Tuition soars by 60%. All right, new forex rates threatens overseas students. Indebted scholars are barred from classes. And the parents beg federal government for concession as tuition living cost climb amid forex crisis. That's the issue on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Now let's move to Business Day. How 2 Chinese fintechs clinched Nigeria's POS market. How 2 Chinese fintechs clinched Nigeria's POS market. That's the Business Day. The last one we're looking at now is Daily Trust. Daily Trust says OPEC false calls against funding of fossil fuels in Africa. OPEC false calls against funding of fossil fuels in Africa. That's what Daily Trust has. And we needed to achieve industrialization. African petroleum producers are saying, or to drive industrialization. That's what African petroleum producers are saying. NNPCL denies blocking oil and gas sector deals and allays IOC's divestment fears. This all on the front page of Daily Trust. Veronica?
All right, Mike. Let's look at the story on the front page of the Punch newspaper, talking about the plight of Nigerian students in the UK as a result of government's decision to float the naira and also ensure unification of foreign exchange. And that is said to have made tuition fees soar by 60%. So those who had plans of maybe a particular, maybe £5,000 in their account as against thinking that that is what will cover up for what is left of their tuition fees because they pay in tranches. Right now, it has soared by 60%, and so they are crying out. In fact, some went ahead to share their experiences, saying that because they saved their monies in naira, it is no longer what it is. Because as at the time they saved it, the naira to the dollar exchange rate was a particular amount. Right now, it is not what it is. And then there are those who have come out to say that their schools have barred them. They can't access, the system to check their results, to make whatever it is, check their emails, because they've been told they need to pay up the balance of their tuition fees, and they do not have the resources as it is. It's just a sad tale for them as it is, unfortunately. But decision has to be made by the government. Yeah,
the point there is, recall that the president, when he took oath of office, was saying that hard decisions have to be made.
Absolutely.
This is part of it. Because the point there is, when the issue of the unification of the exchange rate was being thought about and being fine-tuned, of course, there are appendages here and there. There are going to be fallouts, and this is one of the fallouts.
One of it, yeah.
But the point there is, if you look at it ultimately, you will see that, okay, the issues right now of a tuition fee, the salaries, and the value of the currency, and they are all temporary chaos, financial chaos, if I have to put it that way. In the long run, of course, everyone is going to be better off because it is going to bolster the economy. Recall that under Godwin Emefiele, a lot of billions of, in fact, millions or hundreds of millions of dollars were used to support the naira in order to keep it at a certain rate.
Yeah.
And our foreign currency was being, or foreign reserve rather, was being depleted just to support the naira. That was not going into building anything or going into any kind of infrastructure of any kind. It was just to ensure that the naira remains at a certain rate. It was no longer sustainable. So the issue there is that naira was released. Go and find your level in the market. And that's what the issue is right now. Of course, the students, as at the time, they had their monies, the exchange rate between the naira and the pound was about 580 something naira.
Now is 1,000.
Now is almost 1,000. Of course, if you check it, that's almost 50% increase. Almost 50%. Yeah. So one can understand what students will go through at this time. But it is a challenge that maybe if palliatives can be arranged by the federal government one way or the other as a way of saying, okay, let us see how we can create some level of subsidy or create a window or whatever the thing is for students for now. But the point there is, if you do that for the students, you also have to do it for workers, you have to do it for pensioners, you have to do it for businesses, you have to do it for everybody. So at the end of the day, we're back to square one. So the point there is, this is a challenge that parents are going to face. This is a challenge that students are going to face. In fact, Nigerian students who are resident in the UK, right now, a lot of them are beginning to look for how they can get 2, 3, 4 other jobs to do as a way of shoring up some resources to keep themselves in school.
But then you know that as students, you have limited hours of work.
No, of course, you have limited...
So they may not be able to find those jobs because you have to bring a proof that you can work that extended hours.
That is the issue. Do you know that in Nigeria, there will always be the issue of, okay, let us look for
we'll find a way anyhow.
Let's find a way somehow first. Yeah. If you go there and you hit a brick wall, you can come back and say, well, I tried, but it didn't work. But the point there is that, because from reports we are hearing that a lot of Nigerian students are beginning to look for new ways of trying how to make monies, to shore up the resources or the funds that they have.
Yes.
Now, in the UK, there are about between 2015 and 2022, we had about 128,000 Nigerian students going to the UK alone to study. And if you check the capital outflows from Nigeria to UK, just last year alone, $2.5 billion from Nigerian students, parents paying tuition and all of that. 2022 alone, $2.5 billion. That's a lot of money leaving the country for the UK. But however, the point there is that Nigerian students have also proven themselves that wherever they are schooling, they can always excel. So it's a temporary inconvenience that the students and parents have to face, but it is a reality that they have to face because government has to do what they have to do at this
The situation now is more of being between the devil and the deep blue sea because there are those who might lose their admission as it is if they have been barred. In fact, a particular student narrated that the sister or the sibling had to forfeit admission because of they couldn't afford the tuition fees as it is. So how we can achieve a balance is something that I can think of right now. It might be difficult.
Yeah, no, what will happen is a lot of students, due to this, those who might find, because as much as we're talking about Nigerian students, there are some that are not complaining at all.
Of course.
Because of maybe...
They had plans.
They had plans, or their parents, or they themselves have the resources to foot whatever kind of bill as the case may be. But, of course, a lot of others are just trying to see how they can secure their future, if you have to put it that way. So some may have to defer their admission. Where, okay, for now, because I'm not able to pay my fees for this, whatever, let us see how we can defer to next year or defer to whatever the thing is. Because different strategies will have to be deployed to ensure that there's a way out. Now, if on the other hand, there's an arrangement between the Nigerian government and the British government to say, okay, let us come up with an understanding where, okay, something can be done for our students, schooling here as the case may be, that has to also be looked into. So these are all different kind of strategies. But for young students or fresh, students gaining admission to the UK, a lot of them will have to forfeit their admission.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they have to forfeit their admission, and others who have what it takes will go ahead as planned.
As planned. All right, we'll leave the conversation here now.